Now, the Trudeau government, of course, will be keeping a very close eye on what President-elect Donald Trump says in his inauguration speech. And we are joined now by our Ottawa Bureau Chief, Cormac Sweeney, with a big grand entrance there for you, Cormac. Thanks for joining us today. Now,
not a problem.
What is the strategy that the Trudeau Liberals are taking here with Trump?
Well, they're sending a delegation down to the inauguration, and the strategy here is to really signal to the new Trump team that they are focused on trade and defense, and that's clear by the people that are going down representing the government. You have the Foreign Affairs Minister, Chrystia Freeland, who also has the U.S. trade file. You have the Minister of Natural Resources and the Minister of Defense. And I was speaking with the Minister of Natural Resources earlier. He said the real thing that they're going to be doing when they're down in Washington is building those personal relationships with U.S. lawmakers, which is key right now. They want to get to know these people, what makes them tick, get to know them on a first-name basis, and then moving forward as they start to discuss issues like trade and defense, they can really get down to the nitty-gritty. So that's really what they're focusing on in these first initial days, and of course, just waiting to hear what the vision is from Donald Trump, what he will follow through on, what he won't, from what he said during the campaign.
And it's a very delicate dance for them, isn't it? Well,
it definitely is.
Sorry, Cormac. Now, Trump has said NAFTA's job one. That's the big concern for us. Richard Southern saying just moments ago, our dollar's feeling the pinch. Do we have any good news?
Well, I guess the good news that I'm hearing today is I've been speaking with a lot of former ambassadors to the United States representing Canada and some other people, including union boss Jerry Dias, all of who are saying things that we haven't really been hearing up to this point. Up to this point, there's been a lot of fear about NAFTA and what might change. But what I'm hearing now are a lot of people are saying it may be that this fear was kind of overrated, that it's clear now that the target is only Mexico. And there are a few things that Trump wants to deal with when it comes to NAFTA, when it comes to Canada, like dispute settlement and things like that. But they say that may not make the drastic changes to our economy like we had originally thought. So that could be seen as the good news. But anytime you open up any free trade agreement, that could open up a huge can of worms.
I'm sure there are some Canadians that would love to see things changed in NAFTA as well. So who knows? We may come out ahead on this.
We could. You never really know. It all depends on how you really negotiate these deals, and that's what it really comes down to.
All right. Now, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper issuing a somewhat surprising warning by saying that Trump's presidency is a major source of international uncertainty that will reverse 7 decades of U.S. foreign policy. It's quite the statement.
Yeah, very strong words from Stephen Harper. We haven't really heard him speak publicly since he lost the election. Nothing like this, anyhow. And he is now signed up to, basically give consultation with a law firm, Denton's, on international affairs. And he was speaking in New Delhi in India. He basically warned that Donald Trump will scale back a lot of the global involvement that the U.S. has, and that he has a very narrow economic viewpoint. So very strong words, not exactly what we're hearing from the Trudeau government, though, although Stephen Harper really doesn't have, I guess, the shackles of trying to make sure that you maintain a certain relationship that he has to follow when trying to deal with this, so he can speak a little bit more freely. The Trudeau government, on the other hand, has to make sure that they keep their words a little bit more civil in that regard, to make sure that they still hold a strong relationship with the Trump team as they look forward to dealing with things like NAFTA, as well as issues on the environment, infrastructure, defense. There are so many issues that could be on the table. And I guess the big challenge for Trudeau as well is unpredictability. And it's not just for Trudeau, but every government around the world. They don't know what Trump's going to do. But when the U.S. does something and makes a big change, it has impacts and ripple effects around the world. It goes back to that old phrase, when the U.S. sneezes, Canada catches a cold. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Let's start taking our oil of oregano. Thanks very much, Cormac.